right. Hey, everybody, let's do the thing. Huh? Let's do the thing that we do every day. All right. So, first, I'll start by bitching about the weather. It's 57 degrees and raining. I got a brand new riding lawnmower sitting underneath my porch over here. And it's been raining and cold every day since I got it, so I can't use it. And it's supposed to be warming up so I can go fishing, and the water's still too cold. And it's a good thing my hockey team's the best team in the NHL, or I'd really have something to complain about. All right, here we go. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got here. How you doing, Derek? Simon, good morning. Steven, Coop. You caved and you're spending way more than you should spend for the Winter Classic, Steven. I understand. No, we are not here to talk about basketball. I will end this MFR. Unless you guys want to talk about Kareem and Magic and Larry Bird. That's what we could talk about. Chunky, how you doing, bud? Daniel? Ken says rain isn't stopping anytime soon. I know. They originally said it was going to be nice tomorrow, but it's supposed to rain again tomorrow, too. So Donna's here for 5 straight days because she's got some vacation days. And what are we supposed to do in the bedroom all day if it's just raining? What are we supposed to do? Anybody have suggestions? Skylar, how you doing? Craig? Last night's third period was insane, Chunky. You are not kidding. I mean, the Stars were dead. The series was over. The series was over. Edmonton, I mean, Dallas showed no sign whatsoever of being able to handle Edmonton. And then I don't know what that was in the third period last night. It was just an absolute choke job. I don't know what happened there. Communist, Vernon. Simon, yeah, rainy, cold, no fishing. It's not even supposed to reach 70 degrees until the middle of next week, which, generally speaking, if Fluffy was here, he'd be loving it. He'd be outside. I'd be all happy that the weather was cool for him. This would be perfect for him. We'd be at the beach. We'd be at the river. But now, not here. Leia doesn't like being outside in the rain. There's no fish because it's too cold. Derek says, extend the Eastern Conference losing streak tonight, right? So, hold on a second. I see something. I missed some. Boy, this chat's moving really fast. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you. She says, Skinner happened in my great estimation. Good morning. I was trying not to blame it completely on him. I mean, because you got to play pretty bad as a whole to give up 5. I know one of them was an empty net, but they still gave up 4 in the period. 3 straight power play goals. My goodness. So, yeah, Craig says, stay out of the box. Steven says, I chirped Dallas, terrible power play, went to bed, and, of course, they scored the next 3. Unbelievable. And the stupid penalties. I mean, the high sticks of all the things. It was just bad. It was bad all the way around for Edmonton, yeah. Pente says, I really think Edmonton gave that win to Dallas and they run with it. It's possible. Hungry says, Jobo was giving Zito his roses on spit and chiclets. That's nice. Yeah, Zito, I don't know what's going to happen for him to get GM of the year. Derek says, given the drought we had in fall, we can use the rain to help to fill the reservoirs and lakes. Now, that's true. Yeah, I remember when Donna was here. No, she wouldn't have been here. She wasn't here in fall, but we were going to have a bonfire like in March, and it had still been so dry, and so they had a no burn order out, so we couldn't even do that. Ryan, yeah, it's friggin' hot in South Florida. That's that time of year now, man. Kenny says, whatever that game was last night doesn't matter till after game 2. Ain't that the truth, man? That is the truth of it all. Hey, RJ. Hey, Anthony. You think Edmonton's still mentally affected by what happened to them in the finals last year? They're a very, very fragile team mentally. I don't know. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but it was just couldn't believe what I was watching. Like when they made it 4-3, I thought Edmonton would get the game tied and we'd be going to overtime. I was not expecting the fifth goal, but Edmonton just cratered. Hungry says, funny stat that I saw, Skinner this playoffs is playing at either an 870 or a shutout. Oh, boy. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep, he's 0 or 100, nothing in between. Like I said that I would prefer to play Dallas so we get past Carolina because we had beaten them in Finland. I'd rather the guys not travel to Edmonton and rather not see the Oilers win it. I can understand that. I can understand that. So scientist wants to know if I would consider tonight's game a must-win for Carolina. Yeah. Knock on wood, right? It's a wood desk, so I'm good. It's not Formica. I would be hard-pressed to think Carolina can come back from 0-2 against us. I'm not saying it's an instant sweep, but it's pretty close to a must-win. It completely just rearranges and changes the series, what happens tonight. 1-1, and now it's a best of 5, and the only thing that's happened is Panthers have home ice, which for us is kind of like, right? Not to disparage the fans, not because of the fans, but just because we seem to play so well on the road and have a tendency, like in Game 6, right, to not close things out when we should. Like we should have closed out Edmonton in Game 5 at home last year. Craig says, keep Bob clean and let's play Cats hockey. Absolutely agree. I don't think Edmonton wins the West. I don't think they can beat us. I don't think if Edmonton wins the West. We are a bad style match for them, but they did take us to 7 last year, and they took us to 7. And they played with us. They played our style Game 7, and took us to the edge there. It was only 2-1. So, a couple bounces here, a couple bounces there. And Edmonton is sometimes like two different teams. Like in the first 2 periods last night and the third period last night. There's a wild difference. Steven, what's with the 8 p.m. starts? I think it's just mainly because it's the only games being played. So they want to get a little bit more of the West Coast audience to, be able to be involved at least towards the end of the game. That would be my guess. Sunday's game is at 3:00 in the afternoon, which I'm okay with because then I get a night off. But yeah, Sunday's game is at 3. It's not Panthers. It's Dallas and Edmonton. Chunky says, I think it's way better to be a great road team than home. Absolutely agree. And we saw the advantage of that, right? We saw that we were able to rest guys towards the end of this season with the idea of, we ain't worried about it if we have to play on the road. And we showed, we won both in Tampa, right? Did we win both in Tampa? I forget how that series went. Yeah, we won both in Tampa, right? Yeah. Colin says, hopefully Tkachuk can get a goal tonight. Been a minute since he's gotten one. Yeah, he's looked better, but he's just not as active around the net. I'm also curious as to what the reasoning is to have Ekblad and Jones on power play 1. What's his thought process there? Is it just because he wants to make sure there's no shorties? He wants to be extra careful. They're both capable, obviously, but if you're going to have Ekblad out there, This was Ekblad Jones. I think it was Barkov, Reinhart, Verhaeghe, or Barkov, Kachuk, Verhaeghe. Reinhart was out there too, though, so it's been weird. The power play's been a little bit weird. Hungry says a channel called Hockey Hero dropped a video on the ascension of Barkov to stardom today. Highly recommended. I'll have to check it out. I haven't been, Donna's here, so we went to the grocery store this morning. I have not done my normal YouTube perusing this morning. Communist says Dallas versus Florida would feed Finland for decades. Literally a second Finnish civil war. Who says in game one, Kane's lines 2 through 4 only had 9 of the 33 shots on goal in the game, apparently, while Jarvis and Aho had 10 together alone. Looks like we can just park the bus against their line one and let the other lines feast. Maurice talked about it yesterday because originally his idea was he wasn't crazy about our game. And then what he said was he liked the film better than he liked the view behind the bench. And he said, so he didn't expect that there would be a ton of changes. He said he would expect game 2 to look like game 1 in terms of strategy and technique. So I found that to be interesting, which obviously we won the game big, so I wouldn't complain about it. But just wonder if Brenda Moore feels the same way, right? Because if they make adjustments, then we have to as well. Ted says you cannot allow Dallas to get on the power play. That much is obvious at this point. And Edmonton their kill had been struggling a little bit too coming into this. Yeah, Vander Kane's not bad, right? Anthony, I'm not talking about playing physical the whole series. I'm saying game 7, they played that style with us. And it was a 2-1 game. And if you watch the last 5 minutes of game 7 around the net, there's at least 2 or 3 pucks that I still don't know how they didn't go in the back of the net. I mean, we won the cup, but I don't think people realize just how close Edmonton was to tie in that game in the last 7 or 8 minutes or so in that game. You watch some of the up close play that in the scrums around the net where things got physical. And I mean, we won the cup. That's what I'll say. But I would not look at Edmonton like, oh, we can beat them because of our style. Because they, game 7 to me proved that even though we won the game, I wouldn't want to test it again. Ice says, I haven't heard anyone mention it, but the game 1 between the Cats and Hurricanes is one of the most physical games I've seen in a while. Hopefully we can get out alive. The blocking shots is a little bit of a concern, but you have to do that against Carolina. It was physical, but so far we've survived that stuff, right? And there's nobody left, whoever we have to play if we win the series, Edmonton or Dallas. I mean, Dallas is physical, but it's not going to be a big animosity type of aspect to it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be we hate those guys type of attitude. Maybe a little bit of a buzz like that from Edmonton. But I feel like if we can survive this series, we should be able to survive the physicality or whatever was to come next. Green Louie, yeah, the Saturday home game. That's 3, right? Because today's Thursday. Yeah, so it's game 3. And really, really, really would be great if they could win tonight and be up 2-0. You can just about lock away the series if they win on Saturday. Yeah, RJ, I'm glad we don't have the 3 o'clock game too. Totally agree there. Totally agree there. So Simon, it's weird. The holidays are different for me. When there's a holiday, it just means I don't have any eBay pack and ship. You know what I mean? Um, I generally I don't go do much. There's a festival in town this weekend that it's called the Chestertown Tea Party. It's a whole like Revolutionary War styled festival, and they got bands and all sorts of stuff like that. Probably go down there and hang out a little bit if the weather's good Saturday, promote the show that's coming up in a month. And but that's about it. We don't like do the whole barbecue cookout, have a bunch of people over to the house type of deal. I'm very introverted that way. So it says, hey, Jaws, love two things. I love the fishing podcast. Please do more of them whenever you get the chance. Number two, I think tonight is going to be a much, much closer to game than Tuesday's game. Appreciate that. So, yeah, I'm waiting for if the fish would show up, I could do more. The summer is going to be a lot of fishing for sure. And in terms of tonight's game, I would anticipate that as well. I can't imagine we blow them out twice in a row. You know what I mean? I can't imagine that we blow them out twice in a row. So we went 2-1 on the road against both Tampa and Toronto. Yeah, because what is it? We won. So did we split the first two against Tampa and then win both at home, or did we win the first two on the road at Tampa and then split at home? No, it was that one there was the afternoon game. When was that? They all run together for me because when that time we're streaming like 2-3 games a day. So they all end up running together for me. Skylar says, when do I think we'll get Chucky shooting at the net and scoring? Next season. He's giving us what he has. But my non-professional opinion is, since we're pretty sure it's a core injury, we're only going to see him fighting around the front of the net so much because that's really where you need your core. You have to be able to absorb hits, push past people, plant and twist and turn and tight quarters a lot. And I just don't think he has the ability to do that to the best of his ability right now. And I think he would have a concern about re-injuring whatever injury it is if he got too involved towards in the front of the net. So I don't foresee us this year seeing him trying to really fight for position in front of the net all that often. Trey says, is that what you call it, going to the grocery store? That's what you call it. Yeah, that's what you call it. Alechka says, Brindamore said he didn't hate their game. Good. Let them play that way again, right? Go ahead, Carolina. Run it back. Someone wants to know who my favorite content people are that does hockey YouTube. Oh, that's a tough question. I'm trying to think if there's anybody who, when their video shows up, I definitely watch. I do tend to like Hockey Psychology. Obviously, I like the locker room stuff. Hockey Junkie. I like his stuff. Yeah. And there's a lot of channels that are up there that I just don't watch as much as you would think I do, being a hockey channel. Yeah. I have nothing against Eck. I'm just not a huge fan. But I got nothing but good things to say for him. Hungry Xenomore says the Empty Netters podcast started calling Rod Chairman Brindamore because he acts as delusional as Kim Jong-un, and everyone in Carolina just goes along with it. Oh, man. That's funny. Rod has not mastered the art between being calm and being motivating. Like, I think that's what Maurice knows. Maurice knows when it's time to, hey, this is a bunch of crap. You know, seems like Rod wants to be such a player's coach and he wants to be positive, and I understand that. And he certainly doesn't want to call his players out publicly, and I get that. But I don't think I've ever, and it could have happened. So you can, I don't watch Kane's games, but I don't remember ever seeing him like really laying into people. Like Maurice did on the bench that night in Toronto. Trey says, is Aho a free agent? Inter Miami could use him. Yeah, the last 8 minutes of that game had your heart rate sprag. No joke about that. Amanda says, Ryan hates the Panthers so much he's rooting for every opponent to knock us out. But he's consistent. I like it because we haven't lost the thing since he's shown up. I enjoy watching the progression of this team's going to beat you. Well, this team's going to beat you. And then halfway through the next series, he's already accepted that Florida's going to win that one, and he's on to predicting who's going to beat us in the next series. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's great. Because at some point, eventually, hopefully not till next year or the year after, but at some point, we will lose this series, and Ryan's going to be like, see, I told you. I knew you would lose. Anthony says you were watching What's Chaos, and they were saying the game was closer than the scoreboard actually, and only the difference was Florida executed the game plan better than Carolina. I mean, for the most of the times in the playoffs, that's true. You know what I mean? For a lot of that's true because you're talking about two good teams. But I mean, execution is execution, right? You know what it's when a team says they didn't execute, what they mean is they didn't make the plays. They didn't. They couldn't put the puck in the back of the net. They couldn't solve Bobrovsky. They couldn't get the shots on goal that they wanted. Saying a team didn't execute, when you say your team didn't execute, that is a way to take credit away from the other team by not saying, instead of saying they took away what we wanted to do, they'll say, well, we didn't execute. Coot says, I don't mind the games being physical because when teams try to match our physicality, it plays right into our hands. Teams to try to keep up with us in that department just end up losing to us. Ding, ding, ding. Yep. Yeah. So Kate says, I wonder about Luciano having potential for Conn Smythe if the Panthers repeat. I think they already gave it to McDavid again, didn't they? Because on the broadcast last night, I was pretty sure that they just already gave it to McDavid again. I was pretty sure that's what I thought I heard. It sounded that way anyway. Green Loogie says, I'm interested to see what Martian will do tonight. I expect someone's going to tumble head over heels. Very true. I'm scrolling down to the bottom because I know I missed a lot here. Florida man says, how did I become a Panther fan? I sound like an upstate New Yorker. I was born and raised in Miami. I lived in Miami my entire childhood, and I lived in Central Florida until 10 years ago when I moved here to Maryland so that Fluffy would have a high quality of life. Now, I don't think I'm going back. But I'm born and raised day one. Dolphins won the Super Bowl when I was 1 year old, so I'm an old man. It's completely in the blood. Ryan says, Panthers won both games in Tampa, then split in Sunrise, right, and then won Game 5. Thanks, Ryan. Craig says Chucky's 50%, but 110% on the bench and in the locker room. Right. Yeah, Key Match talking about, yeah, Junkie is good. Yeah, Hockey Junkie's good. So I'm in the other podcast right now. We just have not been able to get together with his schedule and everything. We keep planning to do something and then it's not working out on his end. So we're trying. I'm trying to we're trying to make it work. Trey says, I'll probably start making hockey content after the move because that 11-time hour difference will be algorithm steroids. Hey, Jordan. Yeah, communist. Yeah, urinating tree is good too, as well. Oh, no, Kachukin, no. You can't. If I can't, you can't. Oh, it's so itchy. Kyle's really itchy. Kyle would shave his beard in a second. But no, we have to be happy that we look like cavemen because it means our hockey team is still playing. Andrew wants to know if Marchand will be here next year. Hope. That's what I got. Do I think it's going to happen? That's an hour dissertation on the salary cap, and I hope. I hope Bennett Ekblad stay. Marchand gets paid. Sam Miskevich gets a contract. Alex Lyon is the backup goalie for $5 a year. They extend Bob. I extend Luster. I hope everything good happens. I hope we lose nobody. But, yeah, good luck to me. Hey, Kevin. So what's the mood? Who are we rooting for, Dallas or Edmonton? I don't know, man. Like, the first two periods last night, I'm like, Jesus, Edmonton looks good. Dallas looks cooked. And then what? So it's hard to get a read. It's hard to get a read on Dallas. It really is. It just, they have times inside of games and inside of series where they just look like disinterested and listless. Like they have these times where you're just like, is this even a playoff team? But then they do stuff like they did last night in the third period where you're just like, oh, this is a great team. So, man, when I think about who I'd rather play, I can't even – it's such a difference. I mean, the two so different teams, but Skinner. If our option is playing Skinner versus Ottinger, I kind of – you know what I mean? Hey, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, bud. Thank you, Kevin. Says, love any channel that talks Panthers hockey. This is the best. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. 9 seasons. We're almost – next year will be season 10. 10. That's crazy to me. When I started this channel, all 3 kids were living here. I was still married, and the dogs were alive, and I had hair. That's a long decade. That's a long decade. And I'm not talking about Karen X. I'm talking about the ex-wife. I mean, like it's been 10 years of just like tornado. And the Panthers sucked. I started the channel because we sucked. You know what I mean? And now we sit here and we're like, do you think we can win 2 cups in a row? Well, probably, maybe. I mean, just what I feel like it's a whole different life, because it is, really. Ryan says, what do I say? Peter DeBoer faced his former team in the Cup Finals. Yeah, I've thought about that too. He's always got such a sour look on his face. So, Communist 10-year anniversary, any special plans? I do have, yes. Yeah. So the first part is I'm writing another book this summer. It's going to be different, though. It's not going to be so much with the pictures and everything like the first one was. It's going to be a little bit more of a serious book, not really hockey related. But then in terms of the channel, let's just say I'm going to have I have no choice but to make this channel work. And so somehow, some way, whether I'm going to have to hire somebody or keep the format of what I'm doing and change some things around, I have to get this channel to where I'm making some money off of ad revenue, and I'm actually getting views, not just like 500, 1,000 views. I have to find a way to get this channel up to what the view count should be if I'm making NHL content. So that's the goal over the summer is I have to take this channel to the next level because I can't get a job, full-time job, and do the channel. I can't do both. I'm 53 years old. It's just this, I can't do both. So I have to make this channel work. We're going to do the football channel to help out. But I'm kind of going to be recommitting to some things over the course of the summer. And you'll see a lot of different things next year. We're still going to have the streams and the recaps and the noon streams, but you're going to see a lot of different style content next year because I have to make this work on a much bigger level. Coot says, Josh, you have zero to thank for the rise in subs. Definitely a correlation between channel success and team success, as fans will be more involved with fan channels. And that's true. But, the channel has grown in spurts. The channel's really grown in spurts. This year hasn't been that big with the playoffs. Last year, we gained about 1,500 subs during the playoffs. This year, it's not even been 500. But I gained with the Kachuk thing when I spoke the trade into existence, whatever word you want to use. I gained 2,500 subscribers in that week because one of the big hockey writers, I forget which one it was, Pete Blackburn, is that the guy? One of them retweeted me because I made the video saying I predicted this trade. I think it was Blackburn retweeted it. And so it just like blew up. So I gained 2,500 subscribers that week from those videos. So we've had some big spurts. Man, it says the more you guys like, subscribe, and share, donate when you can, this channel can take the next step. I appreciate that, Amanda. Genuinely. And I don't want anybody to think like all the super chats and everything, all the support that you guys do is a tremendous amount. But we've got to get the number of people that are seeing the channel to a different level. That's what we need. I need to do that. That needs to happen. So since I won't be cleaning out a house because somebody left and the dog dying this summer, I can focus my energy on something positive rather than what I did last year. Mythical says, if I'm honest, probably the thumbnails have to be modernized more and also more around the league content, whiteboard power rankings. Yeah, no, I understand. Now, the thumbnail thing is interesting. The thumbnail part is interesting because what I've experienced is when I've tried to change the thumbnails around a little bit, the recap room is the one where like if I just do a video in here and it's back here, but if I make the same content and put out the thumbnail with the Kermit and the recap room, that video will do better. But all of that, like Amanda's saying, TikTok, and I've been trying to get to Instagram a little bit more, but I'm gonna be getting help. I'm gonna be getting help to make clips so that I got clips to go to TikTok and Instagram and on Facebook. So I've got a little bit more presence with the shorts and whatnot, and to be making a little bit more NHL based content. Well, you guys know life got hectic for me for a few years. We've only been monetized for the 3 years. Yeah, 4 years. This is the 4th season of being monetized. So before that, I wasn't quite taking it as serious as I was. Green Loogie says, getting videos out before 10:30 and 12 in certain time zones will help bump the algorithms. It's really strange with that, though. I thought that, like some of the videos I've put out, like if I put out an extra video in the regular season, it's like I got to be more consistent with it. It's like you have to do it every day to stay in the algorithm. It's really odd. Jordan says, honestly, I think that live reactions, like taking a stream and taking the major portions to make a shorter video, would be interesting and get views. Yeah. There's a lot of good ideas, but I need help to do it. Because I can't do it all myself because I got to still work the eBay. You know what I mean? I'm still working the eBay. So I get up in the morning and I'm like, do I make a video or do I list on eBay? And I got to eat. You know what I mean? The eBay fills in the rest of the money. So I need help. I'm getting some help that way to help take the clips and help me put together the videos so I can just film the content and not have to, do all the time consuming stuff. Trey says, try to find an editor overseas. You'll pay a lot less, but they're making more than they would at a local job. You're not exploiting people. You're exploiting the exchange rate. Yeah, that's true. Colin says, have Kyle stream the Marlins game. Kyle is worked to the bone. Got to understand. Kyle's doing all the same streaming I am, and he does the majority of the eBay listing. I do the buying, the pack and ship, all of that kind of stuff. I do list, but he does a lot of eBay listing. So a lot of times, he might be working all day before the stream and then working at night on the stream. So I can only push him so far. You know what I mean? Amanda says, like the video you made with Bennett, the controversial call got a good amount of traction, maybe during the season. Right. Yeah, Amanda, that idea is definitely something I need to look at. I need to look at things from a different perspective and realize some of these littler things that happen in the other games. I can make content with that and try to make that work. Yeah. No, that's exactly one of the things that I'm thinking about doing. But all in good time. Well, so it'll be 10 years. So it'll be good. It'll be good. We'll have all sorts of I haven't figured it out yet, but we'll have sorts of like giveaways and stuff like that. Jordan says, maybe what you can do is try to link a game time clock on the stream so it's easier to locate the times when the events happen. Yeah. I don't know how that works. I don't know. And that's not saying I wouldn't do it, but like, I don't know how that works. Like how you would get a game clock on the screen without manually doing it. You know what I mean? That's something that technically I've not been able to wrap my head around. Craig says, call it rough call. I like that, Craig. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. It's not a bad idea. Who says could also go full homer or make some quick 10-minute or less daily Cats videos during the season. Yeah, but I've got to expand to the NHL stuff. I thought doing the skits was going to work. So I bought the hat, I bought the hats, I got everything together, and that was a big no. that was a big no. I thought the skits would bring in more viewers, but they did not. They did not. So I kind of face planted with that idea, and then the season got rolling, and I was like, well, kind of trying to figure out what to do for next year. Chuck says you can get the game clock on the NHL API on the NHL. Okay. Yeah. If anybody can send me information on that. Scoreboard on the live stream. Okay. Yeah. Florida, when have I been a Stars fan? I wear the jerseys because you guys send them to me. So if a fan from the channel sends me the jerseys when I'm streaming for that team, I'll wear that jersey. That's how that works. So like Jameson sent me last year, he sent me a bunch. I got a lot of nice jerseys from him. And the one that pisses me off the most that I can't wear is the Coyotes jersey. Damn it. It's the nicest one. Besides the Stars is pretty nice too. So NHL says an idea you can do the game clock is have another camera connected facing the TV and zoomed in on the game clock. Yeah. I also was planning on, because you remember last year, my plan was to remake the entire living room. Well, that we're definitely doing this year because we got to have room, a decent spot for Donna, and we're off center now. So we're going to be remaking the entire room. But one thing that I was considering doing with the second camera was I was going to have for the lifting. I was going to have a second camera for the lifting. So like if I did my push-ups or got on the bench or whatever, you guys could see the whole thing. Floor, can I show the jersey collection? Yeah, I can do that this summer. Colin, that's happening. He's asking about what about streaming the old Finns games? That's happening this summer. That's how we're going to revive the football channel once hockey's over. But it's not just Dolphin games. We're going to do some general games as well, but classic games that Kyle hasn't seen. Kachukin says your site, the Six Fans, has a live scoreboard and stats integration. All right, yeah, I'll check that. I'll definitely check it out. Anything that we can do to improve things, for sure. For sure. But yeah, the second camera thing, I was already thinking about that with the lifting, because some nights I want to do the push-ups, but I end up off camera, so it kind of defeats the purpose. So that's the goal is to explode the channel. I think that's the word I'm looking for. That's the goal, is to explode the channel. I think 10 years is long enough for me to have enough of a backlog so that, we can get this thing moving forward so that some of the revenue that's coming in is from views. That'll make a huge difference. If I could do that, then I wouldn't have to worry so much about the eBay, and then I could, 6 of one, half dozen of another. I could focus on just making hockey content. Oh, Simon's talking to Amanda. Gotcha. Saying, I see Simon. All right. So Green Loogie says rough call should be a big thing when you do it. Have a shorten a 3-minute video tag. Right. Yeah. Oh, hey, Jameson. How you doing, bud? He says at least the jerseys still get to be shown on the channel. Yeah, exactly, Jameson. And I mean, I'm not quit the skits. I'll eventually make them again, but I just had to change my perspective. I thought that they would help grow the channel, and they're not. So I kind of got a little bit bummed with that, and because they take a long time. Like one of those 4-minute skits, 3 or 4 minute skits, takes me about 3 hours, and that doesn't include the writing. So that's a lot of time and effort to spend in the morning, and then they don't even get 300 views. That was really depressing. I'm not even gonna pretend. That was really depressing. So, and that's none of yours fault. That's YouTube just not showing it. Because I would look at my analytics, and the click-through rate would be great. The people that they're showing it to, they're watching it, they're clicking, but YouTube just wasn't showing it at all. And that's a difficult problem to solve with YouTube. And it just says another thing you can do is extend the content to stream round 1 of the draft and free agent. Well, we did a lot. We did a lot with free agency last year. We did have some growth last year for sure. The draft, I could do it, but I would have to have somebody that knows what they're talking about. I don't follow the prospects enough to know, you know what I mean? It would kind of just be like a hangout. Kevin says, hopefully tonight Panthers come out rested and don't regress. They played great in the first on Tuesday, then they ran out of gas. They got lucky the Hurricanes didn't cash in. They're smaller dudes. Amen. That's exactly how I saw the game, Kevin. It's like we got that lead, and then we held on. We held on, And we even extended the lead though while we were out of gas. So I don't expect the same game tonight. Yeah, Craig says Tom Grossi makes it look so easy. I don't know how. I don't know how. Like the news drops and like 40 minutes later the video's out. And I have tried to think about what process he's used. I mean, obviously at this point he's got help, right? He obviously has to have some sort of help. It's not physically possible to record it and edit it and get it up in that time by yourself. There's something he's doing that I can't sort through how he does it so fast. Amanda says, if you guys, yeah, thank you. She said, if you guys have any ideas, email Jaws. Yep, it's flyingfluffyhockey@gmail.com. Oh, Colin says, Oilers Bills on 94 would be a good game to stream. Yeah, we're gonna pick some games and have fun with it. We talked about it, and our goal is to have two football streams per week with the classic games, and that'll help get the channel, rolling again. So Kevin's talking about the Panthers. Yeah, ran out of gas. So we did kind of got lucky. Like we shot at the net and even looked surprised that it went in. It was an odd game. A little bit. Hey, Rosado, what are we doing? We're discussing the next year's 10th anniversary of the channel. I should recreate the original video. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I can. This isn't something that would be for the growth. It just would be for fun. Like if I recreated the old videos, like the video in the van, or like if we had like a watch along with some of the really old stuff, the old skits and everything, that might be fun. Kevin, Reinhardt's looked sloppy the whole playoffs, honestly. Reinhardt looks like a guy that's like, I got to skate again. All right, let me skate over here. Oh, the puck went over there. Okay, good. I don't have to skate. He looks wiped out. Rosado. I can't imagine what. Well, first of all, baseball interferes with the other two sports anyway, right? Kyle's not going to do that. Kyle's not going to stream baseball. And there's no way. There's no way I would make it through by the end of a ninth inning, by the end of the game, I would be so inebriated. Like, can you imagine me irritable calling a baseball game? Be 9 solid innings of just bitching and complaining about everything under the sun. Be awful. Who wants to listen to that? IDK says, ever tried doing a primer on hockey rules strategies for newcomers? No, I haven't tried that. That's not a bad idea. Kevin, yeah, especially the end of the second, beginning of the third. Yep. Kachuk says there's a vacuum now that we're not playing the Leafs for Panthers adjacent content during the regular season. It's the same issue. So there's definitely room to grow for sure. Rosado, I'm hoping I haven't given up on the idea of being down there in January. Oh, a 10th year anniversary patch. Okay, that's actually a pretty good idea. That's actually a pretty good idea. Actually, if I actually had the patches made, who had patches made? Hold on a second. There was somebody, I forget who it was. Somebody I knew was telling me they had some patches made. Jaws on the Jumbotron, right? Kevin says I could do Panthers 101. Lots of new fans that don't know a lot about the history from 93 forward. Huh. Maybe I could do like a longer thing over the summer, like a documentary, like an actual documentary. That's not a bad idea. Like if I worked on it over the whole summer. put together like an actual documentary. That'd be a lot of work. Sabrina says reenact the video when I shaved my head with the Miliana. Yeah, I remember that one. Poor Kyle. Trey says 9 dogs, 9 beers, 9 innings. That sounds like a good name for a YouTube baseball channel. Michael says, I vote for you being able to make videos that include highlights from the games with Kyle's commentary. Yeah, that's definitely coming next year. That 100% is coming next year. That's the kind of stuff that I need help with because I can only, you know what I mean? I can only edit so much if I'm recording and doing eBay and everything. That's the kind of stuff because we've got so much content that we should be chopping it up into smaller bits. So, but I don't want to try it starting it in the playoffs because it's going to take a while to get into a groove. So that's definitely coming. Yeah. Kevin says, I sure hope we find our offense before it bites us in the ass. We had a lot of unsung heroes step up. We're getting points from everywhere. We're getting points from everywhere. I mean, Mikula on a breakaway with Greer. When you draw up how to beat the Panthers, nobody is saying, well, we've got to stop Mikula and Greer on the breakaways. Like nobody ever thought about that. Memorial video up, hey, 1 second of every video, only if AI can make the cuts. Right? Yeah, IDK. Panthers retrospective, right? I know documentaries are tough. Yeah. It's an idea, though. Can't let Holland score tonight. So Simon wants to know what I think about the Panthers offseason. And to be honest with you, a lot of the years I've had an idea of what he's thinking. I can't put my finger on it this year. In a perfect world, he got Jones because he knows Ekblad is going to take peanuts, which is what's going to allow us to pay Bennett. And then we move Rodriguez to pay Marchand because he wants to stay for less money. And then Luongo comes back and he's the backup goalie next year. And we extend Bob for 2 years at $6 million. Most of that could actually happen. Kevin, yeah, and then highlight the players. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Yeah, Paul Laws. There's a lot of players that people don't. I mean, remember, Peros played for us. Tim Thomas played for us. So, Yager, right? There's a lot of guys that people forget that only had like a cup of coffee with the team, but were on the team. There's a couple other names that I'm sure I'm leaving out off the top of my head. Yeah, Gabranson, right. I mean, that's what started the channel. Stephen Weiss. There was another old guy that we got at some point. Oh, Thornton, Joe Thornton. Yeah. Yeah, you don't hear about a lot of those guys anymore. Obviously, but it was big news when they came here, right? Yeah, an Eric Branson interview for the 10th anniversary. Maybe that would be a way for me to, if I could talk to Billy. I haven't talked to Billy in a while. Maybe if I could talk to Billy and tell him I was making a documentary for the 10th anniversary of the channel, maybe Billy could hook me up with a few of the players. That's an idea. Yeah. I just have to make sure I have the money to take the time to do it. You know what I mean? I got to make sure that. Yeah. Kevin, yeah, exactly. Lindsay, right? Oh, I know. Tim Thomas was, he was already 40, right? Wasn't Thomas like already 39 or 40 when he played for us? Green says, seeing Zito's face expression when Marshanigans are happening, I just know he's cooking, right? Michael, yeah, you forgot Thomas played here, right? Back when the Panthers was a sentence to be banished. Yeah. There were so many guys like that. Man, said, can I do a show with Billy? Yeah, I'd have to contact him again. We haven't talked this year. But I could probably get a hold of him. You know, him and I have a messaging history on Twitter, so at least I know he gets my stuff. But yeah, it might be something for me to think about if I could put that together and then have it ready for like 2 weeks before it starts. That could give things a bump for sure. Kachukin says 40 starts and he went 16 and Thomas, or 16 and 20. Oh, I remember the $5 tickets, Kevin. Bring the lotto, bring your losing lottery ticket and get into the game. There was something else, like bring a Coke can or cans good or something. I remember something with cans and get a free ticket to the game. Rosales says it should be a month worth of celebrations. Well, the good thing is I started it in October, so it would line up. Yeah, Great White says Thomas was the worst goalie we ever had. Although we had Jonas Johansson. It was a bad team, though, right? Yeah, the Ratina. Simon says, hold on a second. Who is winning? The players that used to play there and he's working in their head office, or maybe. So there's a few. There's Sean Thornton is in the front office. Obviously, Randy had played for us, and he's technically, I know he's the broadcaster, but he's still, I think he's some kind of vice president with the Panthers. He's still technically considered part of the front office, I believe, if I'm not mistaken there. There's I know Luongo's there. McKenzie, he moved on, right? This McKenzie, I know he's not on the bench. We've had a few. Rosales says, how is Jonas Johansson still in the league? Tampa needs somebody to back up Vasilevsky, right? Kevin says, if you could put fog in a mirror, you could get it. Took me a second to figure that one out, but yeah, totally devalued the product. It was such a shame. But to see where they were, visit my childhood home. Jeez, I'd have to drive all the way down to Miami. They put up last time I went down there, it was about 15 years ago. They had put up like a whole big metal fence. Yeah, go to Joe Ribey Stadium. Yep. We could take footage of where we used to walk from California. Is the California Club Mall still there? Is it still called that? Because we used to lock our bikes at the California Club Mall and a walk to the stadium. It's still a hike. But we'd ride our bikes to the California Club Mall, lock them up, walk to the stadium. In like 2 hours, because we'd be flipping tickets the whole way. Back when you could do that kind of thing, and it didn't matter. Nobody get you in trouble or anything like that. You know, good times. Last one. Michael says, I'm pissed at the Toronto fans right now. They're being super shitty about the hit on Bob. Is that right? You're making a smear video series about Dangle right now. You're so pissed. That I got to see. Holy crap. What do I see here? Wait a minute. Holy crap. Thank you, Great White. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, bud. Says, keep fishing. Panthers keep winning. I appreciate that, brother. So, yeah, what Great White is talking about is so last year, we had a lot of members at the end of the season. And then most of the people fell off during the summer. And so my idea this year to help keep money coming in a little bit, make it worth everybody that's a member to keep the membership over the summer. What I'm going to be doing is the 2 to 3 times a week, at least, since it's going to be warm, we won't have any issues. I'll be out there fishing, and we'll talk fishing, we'll talk whatever, and some Panthers too, obviously. And so the members podcast this summer, instead of me being in here trying to talk, we'll be out there fishing. I got to adjust my camera, because the last one, I caught a fish, but the camera was pointed towards the water a little bit too much. So I want it to be a little bit more straight out. So that's a work in progress. But yeah, the members podcast this year for summer is going to be a fishing podcast. Thank you again, Great White. Thank you, bud. Oh yeah, Green Lucas says Corey Stillman stayed or came back to work in Florida. He's what really got you into Panthers hockey, just because he played for our local AHL team. Yeah, I know people that Alex Petrovic, who plays for the Stars, was really, really accessible when he was here with the Panthers. He was friends with some of the fans. Really good guy. All right, Rosado. Thank you, Mike. California Club Mall is still there. Jeez. I lived in Madey. I grew up in Ives Estates. I watched them build that mall. That's how old I watched them build that mall. And I remember they had these huge, big gravel pits because they were filling in some of the land. And my parents needed to put in a new drain field in the back of the house. And so me, my dad, and my uncle, we drove up in my dad's work van, and we had our garbage cans and shovels, and we took a bunch of the gravel to put and use for our drain field. And we saved ourselves a ton of money. I remember doing that. Goose says, thank goodness for Vinny Viola. If it weren't for him buying the team and hiring the right people, we probably wouldn't have the Panthers anymore. That's the truth, man. That is the truth. So what are the Leaf fans complaining about? Are they saying that Bob deserved that little hit the other night? Is that basically what we're getting? Rosado, I don't know if I could do a live stream from the water. I'd have to use my cell phone service, obviously. And it's kind of spotty out here. I could try it. I would try it with the members, you know what I mean? Because I don't know how it would work. Kachuk says, anyone see Brendan Moore say they lost the 5-2 game because of 2 power play goals? Nice. All right, Rod. Keep it. Keep it, man. He says I like Brendan Moore a whole lot more than Berube. I get it. He doesn't want to criticize his team. I just wonder how he is behind closed doors. Yeah, exactly, Brace fan. They said they didn't get swept last time. I agree with you, Kevin. He says, I'm sick of everyone complaining about the Panthers being cheaters and playing dirty when we're just tougher and physical. Amen. It's just, but we're the Chiefs now, Kevin. We're the Chiefs. I mean, we're the Chiefs. We turned into Kansas City Chiefs. So for us, that's a good thing. But when I started the channel, used to get so many comments from especially Canadian markets. Oh, wow. I'm so happy to see the Panthers have a YouTube guy. I like the Panthers. They're my second team. Good luck to you guys. I used to get that all the time. I don't get that no more. I do not get that response anymore at all. Michael says they're saying really terrible things about Bob and the Panthers. I believe it. I had to block them. One dude was even talking about Fluffy. So I believe it 100%. There's something wrong with some of those people. And it's like their brains are broken. I mean, dude literally was talking about my dog in the video where I talked about they had died. It was series preview. And it was just like, what? What in the hell's wrong with you? Ryan, I appreciate it. I hopefully we can do it hopefully we can do it in January. We're hoping to be down there in January next year. Michael says they're still talking ish and Dangle is leading the charge. I haven't seen it. Is he doing it on his podcast? Michael, email me, Michael, and send me a link to some of what you're seeing. Maybe I'll respond. Maybe I'll make some content and respond. I've tried to take the high road with all of that. You know, I mean, Dangle he is who he is. And that's, everybody is who they are. But I'm curious to see that stuff. Kachuk says if Stoli got sick from that hit, he already had multiple hits. It's common that concussion syndrome doesn't present at the first big hit, and it really gets bad the next time you get your bell rung. Right. The IDK says, yeah, all we need is back-to-back to complete the comparison. Exactly. Mikala equals Lurch. I like that. Kevin says, I watch the game sometimes over and over. It goes both ways. We do give some cheap shots. You hate it, but we take them too. Yeah, I mean, look, that's the sport. I mean, that's playoff hockey. It just is. You can't, if you remove that, the toughness from playoff hockey, nobody's showing up. Nobody but the diehards are showing up. Braves fans have the Chiefs, but more likable. Yeah, a little bit, right? Kevin, when I say we're the Chiefs, I mean in terms of the fan bases of the other teams hating us. You know what I mean? And being sick of us, right? I mean, we're now in 3 straight Eastern Conference finals. I'm just comparing the comments I've seen other channels and other fans make about us, and I'm comparing it to what they say about the Chiefs. That's I kind of feel like we're kind of getting close to the same treatment. Michael says, I'm getting footage of Dangle being worse than the guy was going on about Fluffy. It's going to be a 30 for 30 style video about the noise, specifically Dangle is the problem. All right. Can't wait to see it. He's doing it on SDPN. No, we have a lot of good Leaf fans on this channel. Rosado. Yeah, he liked the Twitter post of his piano one time. I do not think Darryl would come on. No. John might. Michael says, I got a sick voiceover script ripping apart Dangle. All right. Let me see it. Let me send it to me, right? Oh, hey, Simon. I appreciate that. Yeah, well, I don't know that would be the giveaway I would have. It would be merch. I don't think I've reached the level of win a signed copy of my book type of fame just yet, right? You know what I mean? Michael says, Jesse and Adam being reasonable, but sometimes Dangle can't stop being terrible, right? Last thing, Dietrich says, what's the score prediction for tonight? 5-2 Panthers. Does that sound familiar? 5-2 Panthers. Yeah, I think something bit me in my neck here. It's weird. I got an itch right here. I feel like something bit me. Like maybe I got a mosquito bite. Green says 4-2 Cats after empty net goal. Okay, sure. We have to assume it's going to be less. It's going to be more stressful. Rosado thinks 3-2 Panthers in overtime. All right.
I can buy on that too. Such a huge game. Such a huge game to get up 2-0 in this series. If Carolina wins, now you're talking 6-7 games. If we can get up 2-0, not saying that they're going to quit, but puts us in such a good shape. So, all right, everybody, I got to roll. Get the eBay stuff. Save my voice a little bit for tonight. Thank you all for joining. Much love on all the super chats. Genuinely appreciate it. You guys keep this show moving. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. No shirt, no shoes, no service. BYOB. And 2 points. That sums it up. It's still live. I ended the stream, but I'm still here. I clicked end, and that's interesting, but it's not ending. So